time, claiming this month Amtrak Month in the city of Fort Worth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Alrighty?
And I'm glad that I had an opportunity to be the one to ride the first Amtrak train into Fort Worth, where I started my career with the Old Brotherhood of Railroad Trainmen, now the UTU. And also, I hope that soon we will see better trains running into Fort Worth and other parts of the country, and I think it's the only thing that this country needs is a choice between transportation and a transportation policy as other countries have.
This train leaving track number 6, the Santa Fe Railway Station in Fort Worth, used to be known as the Texas Chief to the Santa Fe Railway. To many, it will remain as the Santa Fe Chief, but now it's actually called Amtrak Train number 16. Hopefully, Amtrak will be the solution that will save the passenger train service in the United States. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
next from Dallas, Texas, with a record 201, just one stroke off of the all-time LPGA record. A real favorite of ours around Dallas. I think we could say in a lot of ways that Sandra Haney brought it home.
We're delighted to announce today the signing of Collis Jones of Notre Dame, who was a first-round draft choice of the Milwaukee Bucks and a high draft choice of our own. And we're very pleased to have Collis here in Dallas today, along with his parents.
Collis, what are your feelings about playing for the Chaparrals?
Well, I'm very happy to be here. I think it's a great opportunity for me. It was a hard decision, and I think I made the best choice, and I'd like to thank Mr. Briner and Mr. Folsom for being so sincere and honest.
Amtrak, northbound Santa Fe, Texas Chief, now arriving. Truck number 6.
This is a continuation of a long-standing fight, or I think harassment, by the package store industry. These are the independent freestanding liquor store operators. They succeeded several years ago in requiring a legislation that required us to partition off our liquor departments, which we did. In 1969, the present legislation, which is causing us a problem, was passed. That was passed on the last day of the session on a floor amendment that received very little publicity, and that is the, if you'll notice Senator Schwartz's comment the other day, it was passed, he thinks, with subterfuge and without full knowledge of the Senate or the House. This legislation was not enforced at that time because the Attorney General ruled that it did not mean we had to have separate entities or separate buildings. Meanwhile, during this 2-year period, the package store industry has quietly litigated a test case through the courts all the way to the Texas Supreme Court, which rules that we not only have to have separate entities now, but probably that we have to have separate buildings, which means that we will have to close our liquor departments.
I don't know, perhaps I've got a little momentum going from last week, and I'm just real fired up to play at home for a change, and I would like to play well. And I think the golf course is playing a little bit differently this year because the greens are really holding well, and they're just putting great. So I think that a little change in the course and a little change in me has a lot to do with it.
Well, look, you had an eagle today. What hole was it, and how did it make you feel?
Well, it made me feel great because it was just one more good moment on top of another for me. I just got things rolling, and I had the eagle at 12, and I had putted for 2 eagles on the other 2 par 5s, short ones not over about 12 feet each, and it just lipped them out, and I finally got one in. So I enjoyed it.
Do you feel that today's was one of your best rounds ever played?
Oh, absolutely. If I could have raced 14 and 15, I would say that undoubtedly it was probably the best round of golf I've ever played. But even with those 2 holes, I have no complaints.
You came here with a win at the Raleigh Open. You think that's helped you so far?
Well, I think so. Of course, a win just gives you nothing but confidence in your game, and I feel, I feel like I've got everything going, and I just hope it stays for one more day.
Straight up. Here it comes. Right.
I've 3-putted 17 and 18 I bogeyed. Although I hit a dumb shot off the tee, I probably should have hit a 3-wood off the tee, and I tried to hit a driver. And when you try and make birdie, it seems like you always are going to make a bogey. So I hit the tree and knocked it down, chipped out in the fairway, and missed the putt, wedge up and missed the putt.
Well, you don't look like the kind to get too excited about it, though. You can come back tomorrow. You're 1 stroke behind the 2 leaders.
Well, yeah, but it sure would be great to be leading. Although I guess I come from behind a lot better than I do when I'm leading a tournament, as I proved it at the National Open this year on TV.
When I started out this afternoon, it was pretty dry, so I didn't notice any change. The greens, I think the last 4 or 5 greens got a little bit firmer, and so they were a little bit faster than when we started out. But other than that, I think the course played super.
What was clicking for you best today, Dee Dee?
Been help from the good Lord.
What birdies did you have?
Let's see, I birdied on the backside 11, and I eagled 12, and so I was 3 under there. And then on the front side, I can't remember exactly which ones. I birdied the 2nd hole, and then the 6th hole, I believe it was.
Takaさんは今日はあなたのゴルフはどうでしたか？
そうです。最初は33で2アンダーですか？最初の9ホール。で、後の9ホール、途中まで2アンダーです。4アンダーで行ったんですけどね。13、14、15、16ぐらいかしら。なんかボギー3ホール続いちゃって。
バーディーさんはいくつを取りましたか
？4つです。
ボギーはいくつを取りましたか？3つ
です。
そうですか。はい。どうもありがとうございました。いいえ。さよなら。I just found out from Chaco that she shot a pretty good round of golf today, as they say it in Japanese. She's 70, 1 under par. Hein-san wa
we have organized our agenda for the next several months. We'll have public hearings in Chicago, in San Francisco, in Washington, and we have some youth consultants coming in during the summer who will provide an input to our staff. We will also be making some overseas trips for purposes of observing how this is handled with our armed services and also with in other governments, how the nations are.
Well, I think the ones that were there last week were generally peaceful and tried to dissent in an orderly manner. Those that are there this week are of a different stripe, and these appear to be more militant. And I think that in that instance where they try to disrupt the orderly processes of government, I think they should be arrested. And I think whatever the law punishments are that are provided under the law, I think that should be meted out to them. Yes, we had some visitors last week, and had a very interesting visit with some of the Vietnam veterans against the war. They were more peaceful in their demonstrations. They were quite polite, but deeply concerned and I think quite sincere. Now, the group that's there this week is quite different. These are militants, and I really think are anarchists. And if it wasn't this issue, I think they'd find themselves another issue to try to disrupt the government. And I don't believe it's the obligation of the United States Senator to listen to just the most strident voices. I think these people want to impose the will of the minority on the majority, really.
Do you have any plans for tomorrow? I understand they have big plans on what they're going to do to Washington.
Well, I have a speech I'm making here at noon and then flying immediately back. But we're planning business as usual in my office, and I expect the Senate to be in session, and I'll be back there for it.
What have you learned new about marijuana and drug abuse that you didn't know before?
That it's a vast problem. It's a tremendous problem. Of course, our concentration this first year has been on marijuana, and I'm impressed with the enormity of the problem and the many views that are taken with respect to its settlement and solution, and we're trying to hear every side of it.
What do you hope that the Commission will ultimately be able to do?
Well, our charge by the Congress is to come back with particular findings, and recommendations with respect to any legislative changes that would be made at the national level.
I asked you at the first of the year, and I'll ask you again. Do you think your commission might end up like some other presidential commissions have, and that is the target of quite a bit of controversy?
Oh, I'm sure that will be true because the subject is controversial, and no matter what you say, somebody's going to disagree with you, and I'm sure there'll be a good deal of vocal disagreement with whatever we say.
Now, the way we feel this will work is that if a boy or girl comes into our house and is either going to need immediate emergency care at the hospital where the parents would have to be informed right then that they're going, or the boy and girl asks that somebody speak to their parents and explain his situation, the counselors here will then have our names, and they will be able to call us any time of the day or night, and we will be responsible for talking with the families of the boy or girl here. Now, the service we hope to offer them is, first of all, to simply by being adults and being a little bit knowledgeable, offer them some help just by being people and being there with them. The second thing is that we have spent some time becoming informed about the effects of the various drugs and what the parent may be seeing. We hope by doing this to answer some of their fears about what's happening. And thirdly, to offer suggestions as to various resources in the community that might be of help to the family.
The tomb-like quality that you find in these Dallas City Council chambers on a Sunday will be broken tomorrow morning. At 11 a.m., we'll have a brand new mayor and a brand new city council. And the first order of business for our brand new city council and mayor is going to be to find out who will be the new mayor pro tem. and the new Deputy Mayor Pro Tem. Ted Holland and George Allen are in the front and running, and it should be a very close contest. There are also quite a few other items of business for the brand new City Council to handle. A brand new mayor and City Council for Dallas. They're going to be busy tomorrow. Malcolm Lavis for Channel 8 News at the Dallas City Council chambers.
Well, after I'm finished, I can say, yes, I did, but before you start, you never know, and I just couldn't be happy with my 3 rounds.
You mentioned number 5 as the toughest hole on the course. How did you play it your 3 rounds?
Well, I didn't play it real well, but I didn't make any mistakes. I knocked it on the green all 3 days and 2 putted, and so I made 3 4s there, which that was the way I wanted to play it.
How'd you play number 12?
Well, number 12 was very, very kind to me. The first day I 3-putted it for par, and then yesterday I made about a 12-footer for eagle, and today I made about a 30-footer for eagle. So that hole was extremely kind to me.
With a championship in the bag, what are your thoughts as you tee off on number 18?
Well, of course, you don't want to really, stumble there. So you just, try to find 2 just real smooth golf swings and see what you can do. And I hit a good tee ball, but I didn't hit a real good second shot, but fortunately got it fairly close. And I would have liked to have made 3, but I was just trying to get it close and made sure I made 4.
How close was your putt there to falling in?
Oh, it was just hanging on the lip. Probably another turn it would have gone in.
How would you compare these 3 rounds with your last week's championship effort?
Well, of course, they're 2 entirely different golf courses, and last week I played well, but I think this week, I think that I probably hit the ball a lot closer to the hole, and I made a lot more putts, and I would have to say that, there again, I put playing at home extremely tough. So I think that probably these 3 rounds are probably the best 3 rounds I've ever played in my life.
Arthur Ashe will now serve. Games are tied in the tiebreaker 1-1. Ashe's first service. Fault. Arthur Ashe now serving. Games tied 1-1. Second service.
Nice shot by John Newcomb. He takes a 2-1 lead in the tiebreaker.
Newcomb leading 2 games to 1. Ashe's first service. Fourth game. Fault. Arthur Ashe serving, trailing 1 game to 2 in the tiebreaker. Out. Games are tied 2-2, and Newcomb didn't like it.
2 points all.
Game's tied 2-2 in the tiebreaker. John Newcomb is serving. First service.
Fine return by Ashe. There it is. Newcomb leads 3-2 in the tiebreaker, and the crowd loved it.
3-2.
John Newcomb leads 3-2 in the tiebreaker. His service. Newcomb leads 4-2. John Newcomb leads 6 points to 2 in the tiebreaker. This is his first service. If he wins this point, he wins the first set. Newcomb's service.
And that's the first set. He aced him. John Newcomb wins the first set 7-6 in this best 2 out of 3 set World Championship Rawlings Tennis Classic Championship match.